Hi, I'm Blake Schofield, founder and CEO of The Bridge to Fulfillment. Mom to 3, USA Today top 10 professional coach, and former corporate executive who got tired of sacrificing my life for a comfortable paycheck. My mission is to expand perspectives to achieve greater impact at home and work without sacrifice. This is The Bridge to Fulfillment.
Have you ever been in a circumstance where there is either a really challenging coworker, team member, or perhaps a boss that is creating a lot of stress or anxiety for you? Well, if you've worked inside any sort of large corporation, the answer probably is yes, that either you're experiencing it now or you've experienced it before. You know, I've been having a lot of conversations recently about this topic around relationships and how we feel empowered to honor ourselves while honoring others. And here's one thing that became really clear when I began to sort of look at the pattern of my life, as well as the pattern of so many of my clients. Many of my clients have experienced what I experienced, which is going through some tough, toxic leaders or circumstances in their careers that have led them to doubt themselves, burn themselves out, do everything they could to either try and make it better, try and figure out how they could work with this leader, or just try to avoid the problem and, fix the issue that person wanted in order to remove the tension or conflict. And if you can relate to any of that, here's what I want to share with you that's really powerful and incredibly important. I always talk about that life is teaching us lessons, and we will keep getting that lesson over and over and over again until we learn it. It first starts as a whisper, then a knock, then a bang on the door, and then the whole damn thing will come down. So why do I share that with you? I share that with you because if you've worked for more than one or worked with more than one person with these toxic type of behaviors, people that will threaten your job safety or make you feel like you're not doing a good enough job when you express concerns, when you're met with judgment or blame or lack of willingness to actually find a solution, when you provide your suggestion and somebody is unwilling to listen to your perspective or puts the blame or the onus back on you. I remember so many of these circumstances. Early in my career, I worked in an organization that was very fear-based, and it was pretty much intimated that if you were sick, you needed to come into work, and you shouldn't take time off of work to go to the doctor. It was just sort of known to be the case. It was also known to be the case that if you couldn't answer something once or twice, then you could very easily be blackballed and seen as if you were incompetent in your job. I also worked with leaders who literally would tell you that you could not leave work to go get dinner or go pick up your kids from school, that you had to stay to finish this massive project. And there were many nights that I was scrambling trying to get my daughter picked up from daycare in order to deal with that boss. And I also worked with bosses who were very divisive, talked badly about other people, never seemed to be willing to be open to take feedback. But if you didn't do things their way, you knew very quickly that you would face the price for that. I was having a conversation with a client this week, and he was sharing with me some things about how he felt like in the past when he had sought leadership that he was really pushed down. But when we started talking further, this person, where he had this really difficult situation, this person made a coworker consistently cry, had a lot of issues with the people that worked around them, but the organization seemed to do nothing about it. And here's the thing I really want you to hear. If you stay in toxic circumstances or situations, whether it is with a coworker, a boss, a team member, and you attempt to somehow make it work or avoid the conflict or start blaming yourself, all of these are signs that you've had trauma, because you would leave almost immediately otherwise. You would try to resolve the issue, and when it became clear that it wasn't something that could be resolved, you would exit. And I say this because I started to really remove toxic people and circumstances first from my career. And as I progressed over the last 7 years, I've begun to see that same pattern, right, in different layers of my life. places where people were manipulating or gaslighting me, where I was being taken advantage of, where I was sitting and trying to make things better when the other person actually wasn't willing to be accountable, wasn't taking responsibility or partnering to create change. And so it can become easy to get in a culture where people complain about work or complain about coworkers. All that does is create more toxicity. So what should you do instead? Well, the very first thing you want to do is to be able to give feedback on how you feel and where you need help or support or partnership to create change or create partnership or collaborate to find the right answer. And then I want you to really slow down and see what the response is. Is that person receptive and open to change? Whether or not they agree with your perspective, do they try to understand you? Do they try to find a solution? Or do they immediately shut you down, blame you, gaslight you, tell you that, it's your problem, or that if you were a better employee, you would be able to figure it out? Often, we can be so uncomfortable in giving that feedback that we don't even slow down enough to see what that response is. And it's really important because I can tell you now, having done this 7+ years and with hundreds of people, what I consistently see is that it's very easy, especially if you have had trauma around this, to stay in circumstances that can cause you to truly lose your sense of self-confidence, that you can continue to work in really toxic situations or with toxic leaders and believe that something is wrong with you when that is not the case at all. That the real issue is that you're with somebody who's unwilling to actually take responsibility for their behavior or create positive change. And so giving that feedback and being able to see how does that person respond to you and really take the time to look at and understand how that circumstance went before you immediately go inward and think what you could have done differently. And then you want to look at another level, which is, does leadership prioritize good communication, collaboration, healthy environments? Or are they okay with that person's behavior? In the case of my client, he talked about that this individual who created a lot of problems on the team delivered really great results. And so top leadership didn't care. They did not care what this person did, nor the fact that the environment was toxic because of him. And therefore, they supported him. And when you can begin to see that, you can begin to realize this is an organization that's not aligned with my values. And it is a place I need to leave and exit. Here's the thing most of us don't see, right? Our life is always repeating the same patterns, but we often think it's a different circumstance. We just believe, well, if I just, don't have a micromanaging boss, or I work in a better industry, or XYZ, then I will be happy, then it will be better. But I can tell you, if you don't solve the root cause, these things follow you. So if you have really struggled with toxic bosses, coworkers, etc., in your career, and you're hoping that making a change is going to fix that, I can tell you that until you fix that root cause, it won't. Because if you stayed in any of those circumstances, blamed yourself, tried to make it better, tried to just do what the person said so that you could avoid the conflict, underneath all of that is a deeper root cause of why you have put yourself in those circumstances and stayed or tried to fix it. And that's really important to address so that you don't repeat that pattern again. It's an interesting thing to be able to see this pattern across organizations, across families, across relationships, and understand that so often we're misperceiving what's really happening because we're only seeing it from the lens we have. But I can truly tell you that when you value yourself, when you understand those healthy communication styles, when you understand how to vet leadership and organizations in a way that is supportive and aligned with that, you no longer will continue to suffer these issues. And I say that as somebody who's spent a number of years, I worked in 5 different organizations with 5 very different cultures. And I've now worked with hundreds of clients across many different industries and a lot of companies. And I can tell you that there are healthy companies and there are toxic companies. There are companies who really empower people to learn how to collaborate, resolve conflict, work together. And there are companies that do the opposite, fear-based, only care about how you perform, don't care about what that environment actually looks like for their employees. And often people that are in these toxic work environments keep repeating that and believing that all organizations look like that. And I'm just here to share with you that they don't. that there is so much more possibility for your career and life. And if you have been struggling with these types of things, either now or in the past, I want you to know that you actually can solve the root cause so that you don't have to worry whether the next opportunity, right, the grass will actually be greener, so that you can be more fulfilled, more peaceful, more impactful in your current job or your current organization. These are huge opportunities to be able to gain the skills to create peace of mind, to create balance, to create impact, to really be able to create the fulfilling career in life that you want. You do not have to continue to repeat this pattern. I want to say that again. You do not have to continue to repeat this pattern. Most people say you don't leave an organization, you leave a boss. Organizations tend to have about a 40% turnover in top leadership every number of years. And what I see consistently is these patterns over and over and over again of great employees who maybe don't fit with the leadership values or culture, having their confidence so depleted and the stress levels so high that they end up leaving really undervaluing themselves, as opposed to being able to have the tools to really understand what's happening, advocate for yourself, and then be able to identify, is this solvable? Is this leader, is this professional open and receptive to feedback and change? And if not, is leadership of the organization open and receptive to that change? We are the ones that must create the change that we want to see in the world. And it starts with being able to recognize that we have the power to either change, shift, and improve the environments we're in, or to leave and go somewhere that's far more aligned with what we want to live and what we value. I hope this has been helpful to you. As always, I appreciate your feedback. Let me know what you want to learn more about. I'd love to hear from you and really be able to provide more content that really helps you on a day-to-day basis create that more fulfilling career in life. Until next time, have a great week.